Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. My channel is about marriage to a woman from the Philippines. I made a recent video about how long does it take to know a Filipina, and I probably haven't released that one yet, so maybe I shouldn't have said that, but this is going to be part two about how long it takes to know one. And I got married very quickly back in 2015. How quick? 54 days from the United States to the Philippines. And so I had to think about what was important and what wasn't important. In the last video that I did on this topic, I talked about why it doesn't have to take a long time to get married in these situations, although you do have to be careful. Today I'm going to talk about what was not important to me. Another way to look at it is this: the longer the list of things that are important to me, then the less likely I am to get married. And when I say important, I think we really have to narrow it down to, is it really important, or is it just something that I would prefer? Is it worth this thing that's important to me preventing me from ever getting married? Well, then maybe it shouldn't be so important after all. I'll let you know here as I continue. Now, here is basically what was not essential for me when I started looking for a woman. Yes, I knew she was thousands of miles away. Now, this might surprise you. Some of these, her education was not something that I said, well, I've got to have a college graduate. And, I've told other people, based on my experience, it's good to look for someone, probably preferable, although not absolutely necessary, that she have a college degree, because that means, probably her English has to be pretty good, maybe not, but she's worked hard and been disciplined to get that degree. So that's a good thing. I think that's a green flag, I would call it. However, I wasn't looking for that. I just wanted her to finish high school. And I can tell you from experience, some of the women on the dating sites, if that's the route you're going, and even if you're not, may not have a high school education. They may not have made it that far. They may not have been able to. The school may have been too far away from where they lived. So I just wanted her to at least finish high school. And as far as her IQ, that's another thing some people consider. I didn't consider. Now, I didn't want somebody that was unintelligent, but, her so-called IQ, I just never gave any thought to. In other words, I wasn't looking for a Rhodes Scholar or a genius. I was looking for someone to marry, be a companion, take care of her. Another thing, her job. I wasn't looking for somebody with that even had a job. Now, I've told others, if you can, it's a good idea to find somebody with a job, because that shows they're making some money and being responsible, getting up, going through all of that. And so that's a good thing that she has a job, but I wasn't looking for that. And by the way, backing up, even though I wasn't looking for someone, with a high IQ, my wife is very bright. She learns very fast. Everybody that knows her knows that. So I did well there, and she also went to college in the Philippines. So her job, that wasn't a big deal to me. Her bank account, well, usually you don't look at that, like wanting a rich woman in the Philippines. In fact, I remember telling myself, I hope I find somebody that has nothing, somebody that's poor. Why? I wanted to help her. Also, another thing that was not essential, where she was from, her hobbies, her interests, and things like that. As I've said many times before, you can do things together to form, form interests and with each other that can help make you be more compatible, because off the bat, you're probably not going to be very compatible. So my wife had finished college there in the Philippines, and she's one class away from finishing an associate's degree here in America, and I'm very proud of her. regardless of what her education level was. My wife is bright, and like I said, that really helps her out on her job. And I just wanted my wife in the Philippines to be able to do the things that you need to do here living in America, because that's where I was petitioning her to live. The basics, be able to communicate with me, writing fairly well, I thought was important, when you're living here, and have good people skills. And as I mentioned before, that she be a Christian. So my list was not very long. I remember Dr. Phil video where there was a woman that had like 5 pages of must-haves for a husband. Naturally, she wasn't married yet. And it was important to me that she had a job over there. Again, that shows responsibility. She had multiple jobs. She would take anything, any shift, any job, because she wanted to earn money and be responsible. And over there, a lot of people in the Philippines don't have much spare money, because if they did, they're working, but their money goes to other family members who don't work or are unable to work or won't work. I figured it was my responsibility to provide for her, so her net worth didn't matter to me. As far as wanting someone who was poor, I just wanted to elevate someone's life. You would never do that here in America, probably. You'd say, well, I want somebody with a lot of money in the bank. Well, you have to be realistic with the Philippines. So I've accomplished that. I think I've elevated her life. Even though she works 48 hours a week on average, and she makes very, very good money, she wants to do that. She doesn't need my money to survive or to stay with me, yet she still is. So a lot of these things were unlooked for by me, but bonuses, hobbies and interests, again, they weren't very important. We've learned to do things like go to plays that she liked, watching movies. We really like that. I do, especially, so we can kind of mystery movies, we can kind of guess what happened. I'm more interested in her reputation than her skills, and so on. By the way, please subscribe here to Love Beyond the Sea, and leave a comment on things you're not looking for. You don't have to have a wife that maybe other people think are important. So we continued to learn about each other during this immigration period after we got married of about 8 months. And of course, we continued to learn about each other to this day. It doesn't stop when she shows up in your country. And how much fun would it be to figure everything out about someone after years of analysis, years after analysis of being married, and then get married and you know everything about them? That seems anticlimactic and maybe boring and uninteresting, but that's just a theory. Because if you really took the time to learn everything about someone, well, you would just run out of time, or you would decide that you don't like them after all, or they may decide they don't like you. I did admit, or will admit, that I wanted a younger woman around 20 to 30 who I was attracted to, and that's a given, and it's important for a man to be attracted to the woman he marries. That part was not difficult, since Filipinas are beautiful, but I needed someone with beautiful character too. That was the most important thing. I was told when I was younger to work on being the right person for the right person, marriage partner, which would mean putting less emphasis on looking for Miss Perfect. As I've said before, while Sky barks at nothing, why not look for Miss Good Enough? I would be surprised if the Filipina you marry has a long list of things she is looking for in you and a Western husband. I'll just tell you what she wants to know. Are you going to provide for her and treat her with love and kindness? Many Filipinas will commit to marriage in shockingly short time. In my case, I was the one that proposed to her so fast. You need to have some standards, and if you aren't seeing them, why not move quickly on to someone else? Time doesn't stand still while you're looking for love beyond the sea.